In honor of World Diabetes Day, I decided to make a little blog to educate people about type 1 diabetes, as there's a lot of misconceptions. My name is Jennifer, and I am the face of type 1 diabetes. In the United States alone, there's 29.1 million Americans with type 1 diabetes. That's not including type 2 diabetes. A lot of people think that you can get diabetes from eating too much sugar or from being overweight. This is not true. Type 1 diabetes is caused when it's an autoimmune disease, which anything autoimmune means your body attacks itself. So in the case of type 1 diabetes, your body attacks its islet cells. Islet cells are what produce insulin in your pancreas. So once all of these are attacked, your body can no longer produce insulin on its own, and you require shots of insulin or an insulin pump to stay alive. Without insulin, you cannot live. Most type 1 diabetics are diagnosed as children. That's why it's also referred to as juvenile diabetes. However, you can be any age when you get it. I was diagnosed on January 5th, 2010 at the age of 22, on my 22nd birthday actually. I didn't take it quite serious at first. I didn't really know what it meant. I quickly learned what being type 1 diabetic meant. I was actually originally diagnosed as type 2 diabetic, which can be controlled with diet and a healthy lifestyle, increasing exercise, watching your carbohydrates. So I immediately went on a very low carb diet. I continue to follow that diet here 5 years later because it is so wonderful in controlling blood sugars, and I've seen such positive effects. I have not had noodles, bread, sugar, candy, anything out of a box in almost 5 years. It will be 5 years this January. They were wrong. I do not have type 2 diabetes. Within a year, I became debilitatingly sick. I could not even leave my home. And I was re-diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and placed on insulin. My story actually began when I was pregnant with my first child in 2005. I was diagnosed with gestational diabetes. A lot of you are familiar with this and may have even had this. My advice to you mothers who have had gestational diabetes is to keep a watch on your blood sugars. I was told after I delivered that I no longer needed to watch my blood sugars, that it was only during pregnancy. Well, wrong. Within 10 years following the birth of a child, when you have gestational diabetes, you have over a 50% rate of developing diabetes later on in life. That's a staggering number. Pretty much for the rest of your life, you will need to watch your glucose, and at least I would say get it checked once a year to make sure that your blood sugar is not continuing to run high. I was not informed of this. I could have prevented a lot of this if I had been told this after delivery. Normal blood sugar is 80 to 120. The highest I've ever been is 400, and the lowest I've ever been is 40. With a low blood sugar, which is anything under 70, you get confused, you sweat, you shake, your heart races. It's a very unpleasant feeling. When you have low blood sugar, you don't need more insulin. You need less insulin. Actually, when your blood sugar is low, you need a fast-acting carbohydrate, preferably something with sugar, glucose tablets, Starburst, sweet tarts. Not necessarily chocolate, because chocolate has so much fat in it that it actually delays the absorption of the sugar. Juice, any of these would be great. So if you ever see anybody with these types of symptoms or know somebody's diabetic and they're displaying these symptoms, get them some sugar. Now, high blood sugar is the opposite. High blood sugar is actually considered anything over 120. With high blood sugar, you need no food and more insulin. If your blood sugar gets high enough, you can develop ketones, which is where your body's burning fat for energy, and you can actually go into a diabetic coma. A insulin-dependent diabetic like myself can't go longer than about an hour without insulin. So this requires constant management. I even have to wake up once, twice a night in the middle of the night to test my sugars. If I'm high, I have to take insulin and stay awake and make sure my blood sugar comes down. If I'm low, I have to eat even if I'm not hungry, and stay awake and make sure it comes up, so I don't pass out. High blood sugars can make you vomit, make you feel very, very sick, confused, and if high enough and gone on long enough without insulin, diabetic coma and death. And blood sugars, if they get low enough, can also cause seizures, passing out, and death. This for a child is a lot to handle. We must find a cure for this disease. We must educate people. People are very uneducated when I speak to them about type 1 diabetes. Most of the time they think that I got it from eating too much sugar. No. Yeah, I did enjoy a lot of sugar before I was diagnosed, but that has nothing to do with what would cause your body to attack its own pancreas. As of right now, there is no cure. I actually, when I was first diagnosed, I took up to 6 shots a day, and I pricked my finger with this meter up to 10 times a day, sometimes more, depending on whether I'm running high or low. I also wear a continuous glucose monitor. A continuous glucose monitor, right now it says I'm 158, which is a little bit high. A continuous glucose monitor. I wear this needle in 24 hours a day. It's located inside of me. I change it out every 7 days. When I was first diagnosed, I took 6 shots a day. During the pregnancy with my daughter, I was put on an insulin pump. An insulin pump is a needle that I wear inside of me 24 hours a day, and it's connected to this tubing. This tubing has insulin in it. I use this machine to tell my body how much insulin. I take insulin when I eat, and it automatically dispenses insulin each minute of each day, depending on how much insulin I need. Everybody's insulin needs are different. Well, that's your educational World Diabetes Day vlog of the day. Please, please pray for a cure and educate, educate, educate.